All right, so we're not done discussing R4. There will be a possible vote coming up later. It is past the 9:15 hour. We do need to reboot our systems. So we are going to go into recess. This will take approximately 30 minutes. R7 is conference with labor negotiators and employee organizations, deputy sheriff's organizations, correctional officers, deputy sheriffs. And is there any public comment with regards to R7 before we take a short recess? Seeing none, we'll now recess into closed session.
So you kind of alluded to some of the comments that were made. I know there's some comments that have been made about, why don't we do a resolution for the Fourth Amendment? Why don't we do a resolution for the, Fifth Amendment, Sixth Amendment, Third Amendment, First Amendment? The fact is, there's not a war on any of those other amendments going on right now, and we have a war on the Second Amendment in the state of California. So I'm going to make a motion that, with the exception of on page 12 there, number 3 and number 4, about the county employees, with the exception of that, I'd like to make a motion to pass this as it's written.
Well, and I'll tell you that, but there is a lot of things that are assault. There's assault on our kids. There's assault on what gender is. I mean, it's endless. I don't believe it stops solely at the Second Amendment. I mean, one of the things that I wish we were spending more time on, and the gentleman that spoke from Shingletown, and Supervisor Jones at the time, now it's Chairperson Jones, one of the most exciting things I had heard in my candidacy was talking about arming security guards at every school site in Shasta County. And I wish we were talking about that, because that is something that matters, like right now, to kids in the community and families right now. Like, that would be something I would want to get full-fledged behind and run it down. I don't need raps. It's not even about that. It's about, I'm sorry for those that did, but because I don't want booze either. So, but for me, Supervisor Jones like that, or Chairperson Jones, those are the things when it comes to Second Amendment and gun rights. I mean, those are automatic. Those benefit kids and people immediately. And I would 100% want to get some behind arming teachers or arming at least a security guard or a retired peace officer at every campus in Shasta County. I could get behind that.
Yeah, we've already, Supervisor Crab, we've already gone through that and put that in the hands of the sheriff and probation, and so forth. That has not come back, but that could certainly come up at any time. But keep in mind, there's lots of resolutions that we have. They come before the board, and we will weigh in on every one of them if necessary. The difference here on this one is because it's the Second Amendment, and that's why we have such a heated battle with some of the words. And it's part of the reason why the Second Amendment is not treated the same as all the other amendments. These are individual rights. Your rights to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's super clear. And somewhere we're going to have to draw the line if we want to have any freedoms. And without the Second Amendment freedoms, we have none. Supervisor Kelserman has made a motion. I will second that motion. We will be deleting it further resolved 3 and 4, and staff's recommendation, be it therefore resolved as well. That one chunk there will be eliminated. Is that the maker of the motion? Is that the intent?
Yes, that's correct.
I want to make a substitute motion that we accept council's revision of this.
Substitute motion, no second, so that fails. We'll return back to the original motion, which has been made and seconded. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I have more discussion still.
Supervisor?
Yeah. I mean, so we have our attorney over here, county counsel is talking about getting sued, and then we have other attorneys here saying not getting sued. I've got 2 calls in, one to the NRA, which it was cut short because I had to schedule the time with the council level that I wanted to seek information on, and then I've actually hired a private attorney to help me with that. So this becomes very tough because for me, the lawfulness of it, I struggle with. It's not about supporting the Second Amendment, and that's why I said if there was a resolution that was strictly language that wasn't added or court cases that we have huge conflicting input on. I want to support the second, I mean, I do support the Second Amendment. So I guess the discussion is just, I want to have more discussion on it, because I don't feel like we're getting any clarity. Like, I'll give you, and I don't want to.
Supervisor Pry, I think the motion is quite clear. We've been on this topic for 2.5 years.
I haven't been up here for 2.5 years.
I don't know why you're struggling.
It's not about struggling, it's about.
You said you were struggling.
Well, yeah. So the struggle is making decisions without all the facts and with all the information. Now, we could disagree on the facts. It's not about, it's about understanding the facts in front of me. And you talk about the 2.5 years. I got here January 3rd. I'm sorry, I'll Supervisor Rickard's in the queue.
Well, I get kind of quiet, but I just basically say, I want to say too, and several people more or less expressed my sentiments, and I do believe in and support the Second Amendment. But I consider this resolution is an overreach of this board's authority. And that's where I struggle with it. As a board, we do not have the ability to interpret the Constitution to meet our own personal agenda. I'm a concealed weapons permit holder. Our family has 3 gun cases full of firearms. You know, we have the capacity to take care of ourselves. You know, I'm not anti-gun. I view guns as another tool for our ranching operation, but I have no interest in supporting a resolution that is not under the purview of this board. We do not have the jurisdiction to be able to make, we can't supersede what the courts designate. And Mr. Cruse, even if we deleted those 2 changes, does this resolution have some concerns about being legal at the state level?
Supervisor Rickard, yes, if the provisions that aren't included there clarifying that the determinations are made by the courts, then yes, it's a lesson.
And that settles it for me. I trust Mr. Cruse. I have to follow his legal advice. As long as I've been a supervisor here, he's kept this board from being sued over anything like this. And that's my responsibility to the taxpayers of Shasta County. I do not want to open us up, you know, to cost this county money because of this decision. I'm telling you, my husband's got a shotgun by the door tonight. And no matter what happens with this resolution, that shotgun's going to be there tomorrow. And I don't see any imminent threat at this point in time, and I don't see where this is going to make any difference other than exposing us to potential lawsuits. And so you got to weigh the good with the bad, and to me, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers of Shasta County, and that's the bottom line. And I do not think sticking our necks out with this particular resolution that has a lot of issues, a lot of nuances to it, that could get us into trouble is worth the chance. That's just all I have to say.
Thank you, Supervisor Rickard. So we have a motion on the floor. It has been seconded. I guess I'll just weigh in on this in that this was created and drafted by the local chapter of CRPA over 2.5 years ago. This board could have passed a resolution. Several different opportunities came before them, and not only did they not pass any resolution, at one point they said, not only were we not going to pass this resolution, that it will never return to the board chambers again. And of course that's fictitious, and even Rubin Cruse did not weigh in on that, which is not the case. The board can bring this issue up every time we so deem necessary. The fact of the matter is the Second Amendment is unresolved. We live in a tyrannical state with regards to the Second Amendment. And at some point, we have to take a stand. We have to be firm. I'm happy with this resolution. I'm happy that CRPA in Fullerton has approved it. You have one of the top Second Amendment attorneys approving this resolution. That can't be understated. And so, without any other board having any questions, call for the vote. We'll do a roll call vote starting with Supervisor Cry.
Supervisor Cry?
I'm going to abstain.
Supervisor Kellstrom?
Yes.
Supervisor Jones,
Yes.
Supervisor Garmin,
No.
and Supervisor Ricker.
No,
Mr. Cruz, for the abstention, does he have to give a reason why he's abstained, or does he need to vote yea or nay? What's the legal rules on an abstention?
If you bear with me for a moment, I have to look up the rules that we have in the board having abstentions.
I mean, I have no problem answering about why.
Supervisor Crye, you are paid to make decisions, and a yes or no should be the appropriate response. We'll check to see legal if an abstention is allowed.
I'm paid to make good decisions. I'm paid to make good decisions,
The
well-informed decisions.
The rules provide that an abstention or disqualification from voting on the merits of any matter shall be announced audibly, which it was, and shall count as a non-vote. The board member shall state the reason for the abstention or disqualification.
Supervisor Crye, you would need to do that.
Yeah, I want to seek personal legal counsel to understand what I'm actually opening myself up to by voting yes. That's what I want to know. And I get Supervisor Rickard's sentiments about Mr. Cruse, but unless Mr. Cruse is going to, I don't want to say pay my mortgage because this job doesn't pay my mortgage, but at the end of the day, I want to make decisions with the counsel that I seek. And when this came out Thursday, and with Monday being a holiday, my attorney was not available. So I'm not voting yes or no, I'm abstaining because I need, again, that this is, I get it, this was written 2.5 years ago. I saw this for the first time Thursday night. That's my reason, and I'm sticking to it.
Mr. Cruz, is that a good enough legal definition for abstention?
Yes.
All right, so the motion does not pass. Is there any other motion that would want to be entertained with regards to this resolution or not?
I would make a motion to bring this back so I have adequate time to understand that if I am opening myself up to legal ramifications based on my vote.
Would 2 weeks be adequate time, or let's say March 14th meeting?
That works.
All right, we have a motion on the table. Is there anyone going to second this motion? For the sake of discussion, I'll second the motion. Any other discussion? So we have a motion to bring this back at the March 14th meeting. It's been made and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote starting with Supervisor Ricker.
no,
No.
Supervisor Jones,
Yes.
Supervisor Kellstrom,
Yes.
and Supervisor Crye.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. This will come back for round 2 or 3 or 4, March 14th. Thank you everyone for attending. Now move on to items. We have 2 items, C4 and C7.